Metroid. Every gamer and their mother knows about this series. Whether you've played the originals, played the Prime series, played Super Smash Bros., or even just have heard about this game in passing, this is one of those titles that must be recognized. The games star an intergalactic bounty hunter named Samus Aran, who was raised by a mysterious race named the Chozos. While her main objectives vary from game to game, they usually involve hunting down and killing A, her rival space pterodactyl, Ridley, and B, a parasitic and very dangerous organism named, you guessed it, Metroids. Over the years, there have been 10 separate titles to this series. Some good, some questionable. But without a doubt, one of the most revolutionary titles to the Metroid name was Metroid Prime. Released in 2002, this was the first Metroid title to be released on the GameCube, and it was also the first Metroid game to be in full 3D. So naturally, it had a lot to live up to. But in the end, this poses the questions of, was this game any good, and is it worth your time? Well, that's what I'm here for, so let's take a look and find out. This game starts off with Samus responding to a distress call from a derelict vessel in space. Upon boarding the ship, she discovers that the vessel in question happens to be a pirate ship that has been holding poached creatures for experimental purposes. As she continues to explore the ship, she runs into her arch-nemesis, Ridley. Although this time he does look a bit more techno-punk. Soon, the ship begins to explode, and she must race her way out while being timed a la Super Metroid. As she escapes, she is knocked back by a massive explosion, which takes away all of the powers and abilities on her suit. Lovely. So, as the ship crash lands on a nearby planet, Samus jumps into her ship and follows along. Once she lands, she sets off on an adventure to both restore the powers to her suit and find Ridley, knowing that he's for sure up to no good. Once Samus does a bit of exploring, she discovers that she is on the planet of Talon 4. What's special about this? Well, this planet happens to be the home planet of the Chozos, the race responsible for Samus' upbringing. But when she explores the ruins, she discovers that while the lights are on, nobody's home. In other words, the entire Chozo race seems to have disappeared. As she continues her adventure and finds more of her suit, Samus begins to realize that there is something much more sinister going on with the space pirates. What would that be, you ask? Oh, nothing much. It's just that the pirates are not only responsible for rebuilding Ridley after he was defeated in Super Metroid, but they also have been cloning the Metroids and a lamb on the planet for their own nefarious purposes. So, it's up to Samus to restore the powers to her suit, discover the secrets of the Chozos, stop the pirates, stop the Metroids, and stop Ridley, all while surviving the harsh terrain and hostile creatures native to the planet. Piece of cake. This game is set up as a first-person shooter, / adventure title / puzzle title. Let's start with the shooter aspects. Samus' main cannon has 4 functions. The first beam is the power beam, which is used to either attack enemies or open doors, and it can also be charged up for maximum effect. The second beam is the wave beam, which shoots out 3 separate waves of electricity. This beam is required to defeat certain elemental enemies, along with opening specific doors, or even powering said doors up. The third beam is the ice beam. I doubt I even need to explain what that does. And the final beam is the plasma beam, which is closer to a flame beam really. And this beam is by far the most powerful in the game and can easily dispatch your foes quickly and efficiently. Along with these beams, you will also unlock different visors, which can be used to find enemies in dark areas or find heat signatures, a beam grappling hook, missiles, and of course, the Morph Ball. For those who don't know, the Morph Ball is used to access conveniently spherical vents or just smaller areas. Not to mention, you can also use bombs in this mode, which can destroy certain debris and is crucial for destroying certain Metroids. Later on, you will gain the Spider Ball attachment, which allows you to magnetically grab onto certain tracks specifically made for said function. There are 4 main areas in this game: the standard Talon Overworld, the Chozo Temple Ruins, the Magmore Caverns, and the Findrana Drifts. As you begin your adventure, you have almost none of the power-ups to your suit, thus forcing you to look for them. Once you start to find your power-ups, you are able to unlock more areas, which in turn will open the opportunity to find more power-ups. But gaining a power-up needed to unlock a section of one area may require you going to a completely different area, then backtracking once you have said power. But what if you don't know what your next move should be? Well, not to worry. Once you have unlocked a power, the game will let you know where you should go to unlock the next one. Along with fully restoring your suit, you must find 12 artifacts. The reason for this isn't given right away, but all will become clear as you progress through the game. These artifacts are usually found in areas in which you defeated a boss, and are guarded by the ghosts of the Chozo Guardians. Yeah, good luck fighting ghosts that can kick your ass. Now for the reviewing. And you know what? There's no getting around it. I'm going to start with the negative aspects of this game and work my way to the positives. Keep in mind, I'm playing this on the GameCube. These problems could very well be fixed on the Wii version. As for the gameplay in this game, well, it drove me fucking crazy. Here's why. Number 1 is the control mapping. In most first-person shooters, you use the left stick to strafe, while you use the right stick to aim. In this game, this is in fact the case. However, in order to free aim, you must hold down the right trigger while moving the right stick. The problem with this? Well, while free aiming, you cannot move. Believe it or not, this doesn't hinder the combat too much, as you can just hold the left trigger to lock onto enemies. However, there are quite a few segments that require platforming, and considering you can't aim while moving, you must be looking straight ahead while jumping almost blindly onto platforms. Along with the mapping being questionable, the controls themselves feel very stiff. Usually in the respect of aiming and jumping, the controls seem to be fighting you every step of the way when you're trying to play. But probably the one aspect of this game that I hate the most is the backtracking. Look, I know that backtracking is a staple of the Metroid series, but this game takes a minor annoyance and makes it an obnoxious infuriation. You will be trekking through the exact same areas and fighting the exact same enemies multiple times as you go back and forth looking for your power-ups. This stretches the amount of time in this game by hours, and not in a good sense either. I also hate the fact that they give you all of your powers at the beginning of the game and force you to regain all of them, but I won't waste any more time venting about that aspect for the sake of time. Now that I'm done with the negative aspects, I'm going to talk about the aspects of this game that I loved. Not like, mind you, loved. The first aspect I loved was the story, but more so how the story is told. Right off the bat, you are told absolutely nothing. There is no spoken dialogue and no narration. This being a reboot of the Metroid series, it is assumed that you should know who these characters are. But as for the events at hand, you are either shown what is going on by cinematic scenes, or you gain more information on what's happening by scanning enemies, computers, or written artifacts on the walls of the temple. So, the story is all there, but you just have to look for it. That is brilliant. Another aspect that I love is the atmosphere. Since there is no dialogue, you are just stuck with the background music and the sound effects of the creatures, or just the nature. This gives the game a very ambient feel, and it can be very soothing just to sit back and enjoy the experience. This leads me into the final aspect that I enjoyed, the music. I usually don't mention music in my reviews because usually there's nothing special to report, but the OST in this game is phenomenal. Every single track I heard in this game has a very techno-futuristic, yet peaceful and hypnotic sound to it. In fact, even if you never end up playing this game, I can recommend seeking out the OST just because it's that good. As for the graphics, these were top-notch for the time and have held up fairly well today. The environments are varied, and even the enemies are very well designed. Alright, after that emotional roller coaster, this poses the question of how I feel about the game overall. Well, as I'm sure you could tell by my assessment, I was extremely conflicted. In fact, I have been working on this review for over a month because I was having so much trouble figuring out how I feel about this game. But in the end, I have come to this conclusion. This game just isn't for me. But with that in mind, does that mean that no one should play this game? Well, not at all. If you're a fan of the Metroid series and haven't played Prime, or if you're just looking for a very atmospheric experience, I would recommend picking this up. But if, like me, you haven't played any other Metroid game, I wouldn't start here. Well, that's all I have for the review, but before I go, I've realized that I've been making reviews for just over a year. So along with the commentary video I made, I feel that it would be appropriate to see what I've learned over this past year. Well, first off, I may not be hydrophobic, but I am sure as shit arachnophobic. I still don't know what Pikmin are. Luigi gets no respect. DLCs vary, but war never changes. The only reason to be excited for November is the Call of Duty series. Apparently, it doesn't matter what I think. One should never trust a woman named Catherine, or Catherine for that matter. Thinking with portals is the only way to think. I love Super Mario Sunshine, but I hate inverted controls. And finally, above all else, I am, in fact, the hero of the winds. Thanks for watching, everyone. Here's to another year and more reviewing. So until next time, this has been E-Dog saying, I love you all, good night, and good luck.